Now, ladies and gentlemen, then we are going to have a look at Plotly. Plotly is an additional library that also runs on Python, but it has some underlying JavaScript also added to it that you won't have to work with. You are given this for free, so to say. But the advantage is that your graphs are going to become much more interactive. For instance, I could hover with my mouse over data points and see tooltips popping up with the information about the actual X and Y values there. And these tooltips can be manipulated also. I can look at specific graphs if I just wanted to look at Cuba, for instance. A bit awkward here, but if I wanted to remove Cuba, I can do that in the legends. If I wanted to zoom into a section of the graph there, in this case it's not so interesting, but in the option is there. I can reset the axes. I can also zoom in like this with these. There's some controls here that you have. I can set the tooltips to show the tooltips for both countries in one go there. Now, these things are possible, and we are going to achieve this by using the library Plotly, as I said, and you'll probably have to install it the very first time that you are going to use it. You can do that with one command in Colab. Now, in general, in the future also, if you're going to have to install something that's a library that you're going to use, then what you can always do is just install. Now, in this case, we're installing Plotly, so I'll call for install Plotly. And this website here, pypi.org, not Plotly. In this case, it's about Plotly because that's what I asked for. Will give you, in general, installation specifications. So here I can see that this is the code, pip install Plotly, but I can also read a version number here, and often it's very useful to pick up that version number also, so that you've got the latest package version. So I've simply copied that into here, so this is exactly the same, but to run this in Colab, I need to add that exclamation mark there in front. And if I run this, then it will attempt to download and install this package. And in my case, I've already done that, so I will get a message simply to say this has already been done. So this is the downloading part. So it's downloading it, and then it says already satisfied. In your case, it will, of course, do this regardless. It's actually going from 4.41 to 4.90 here. See, so it's now you'll get a message successfully installed. Hopefully, we'll need some data as always. So we're going to use the same data set, the one that we looked at matplotlib also, where we have the years in a column and then separate columns for individual countries. Now, if we want to plot a line graph, the only thing we have to do here is now open up a sublibrary from Plotly, a sublibrary called Express, and we'll call that PX. That's the general expression that's used. If you look online also for support, and then we'll define a figure that is defined as PX. So we're going to use that PX library, the Plotly Express, and in this case, a line graph. We'll see in the future that this could also be an area graph or a box plot, or so there's different or scatter. We'll use the data frame data. We've named it that. And from that, we'll use for the x-axis, we'll use the index, which is the years. If you remember here, index column is year, so I can use it straight away. And for the y values, I'll use the values as they appear in the column with 80 on top. Now, then I'm going to update the layout a little bit. There's various parameters you can set here. You can do annotations, etc. Also legends. In this case, I've only added the title and I've updated the X and Y axes there. And if I ask it to show that figure, fig.show, then we'll see a nice graph here that has, see, year 2010, and Haiti is that particular value. I must say that this data set, the way it's set up, is not ideal. it reads a bit awkward to say Haiti is 134. It should actually say child mortality rate in that particular year is 134. So the data frame where we have separate columns for separate countries is not ideal. Ideally, we would have one column that reads country, and then with 18 rows for all the years 2000, 2018. There's 19 rows, in fact. 19 rows for Afghanistan. Then one column here that says child mortality. And underneath Afghanistan, we would have another 19 rows for Albania. And so we would get 195 times 19 rows with only 3 columns in this data frame. That would be the ideal way to go about. And then I can plot many more countries in one go, because I would just have to create a subset of my data frame and just plot all the different countries and give them a different color. I can say here color equals country. We'll come to that in the next module when we do area graphs. If I, however, want to stick to the same data frame here and I want to plot another column, I'm going to use a slightly different approach. I'm going to import graph objects as GO, that's graph objects, define a figure, and then I'm going to add traces to that figure. And those traces are scatters, where we have the same year column for our x-axis. We have data for Haiti on the y-axis, but in the next one, I'll use the data for Cuba to add to that. We'll indicate that the mode is line, so we'll have actually a line plot, and that's the name for the legend is Haiti. And then here, the only thing I'm doing here basically is I'm giving the y-axis a title, and I'm updating the layout here, changing the dimensions, adding a title for the whole graph, and adding one annotation here for Haiti that says that reads Haiti 2010 earthquake. And these, what you see here is just the position basically, and the fact that I want an arrow to be shown, etc. So let's run this, and then we see here indeed 2 graphs, and this is the same as I just showed you on my website. 2 graphs here. 1 graph, sorry, with 2 lines in 2 line graphs in it. Now, wonderful, and this is all the tooltips, etc. that we need. Good. Now, if you wanted to save this and embed it in our website, there is another library that we need called Files from Google Colab. And within that, we can say, first of all, fig write. That's nothing to do yet with that library. We know what the figure is that we just created. Write HTML, because we can't export a PNG because that would be a static image. So in this case, we're going to have HTML page, and then we're going to download that using that files library. So files.downloads, and then the same file name there. Okay, let's run that, see what happens. So we are going to get a progress bar that tells us what's happening. And now it is ready to download it. It's already there. It's of course a relatively small file. And if I go to my downloads folder, then I'll see that file there. You see, it's nicely plugged it into my downloads folder. And what I can do then, if you wanted to put it on the website, then you would open it up with Notepad. And yes, I want to reload it. And just Control Control A, Control C, select the whole text, copy the text, go to a website, and in my case, what I've done basically is this is the peculiar thing is this is an oddity. It doesn't show it in the editing mode; it only shows it in the published mode. So what we have is what you would do is you would say insert and embed, and then you can just simply paste that code in there. Now I'm stuck, I think. What I've asked it to do is a bit too much. There's a lot of code in there. Here we go. So I'm going to quickly delete this and just do that again to show you what you need to do. Embed code there, and that's where you paste all that code that you've just picked up from your notepad. That takes a few seconds because it's a lot of code. So Google needs to process this a little bit, and once it's there, and count down 3, 2, 1. Yes, That was a lucky coincidence. Okay, 3 to 1, and it works. So I advise you to go 3 to 1 also, and then go click on next. You'll see the graph here popping up already. You just click insert, and it comes with a standard frame. You can make it a little bit bigger and a little bit taller there. And then after you've published, hopefully, so it won't show there, but it will show in the published mode. Awesome. So here it should pop up. Yeah, there we go. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. So Plotly is the way to go for us. We'll be creating dashboards using Plotly also in the next module. Matplotlib is nice for static graphs. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we want to go more to the web-based interactive data visualizations, then Plotly is where we are going to be looking at. So have fun, play around a little bit, and create your own graph and share it with me. Okay, good luck. Bye bye.